Simon and Garfunkel there. Now, he'll tell you himself he'll not have time for his funeral, and that's a long number of years away. John McArdle, Newry man, the Lord Mayor of Newry for the last year. Tonight at 7:30, he will no longer be Lord Mayor of Newry. Another person will take over the role. But it's been an exhausting year for him, and his lifetime of service as a nurse led him, quite naturally perhaps, into service as a politician, the wider caring world of council, chambers and debates and all the rest of it. And John, on his last day, joins me now. How are you?
I'm great, I'm great. I'm here, there and everywhere today, but again, I'm serving the people, and I delight in that. Yeah. That's my job. The job of the mayor is to make representation, and you're above party politics for that 1 year. You're serving everyone, and it's an inclusive factor, and that's very important.
You were saying earlier on that if you were sitting at home looking at four walls, it would drive you.
I would go
you'd go cuckoo.
I would go cuckoo. Yeah. That's right, and probably drive my wife cuckoo. Right.
What
right.
John had your history in nursing. That was a huge contribution in the community.
Well, I worked in an engineering factory one time, so I said to myself one day, I liked the work, but I wanted to do something that I wanted to give something back to the community. So I decided, right, I made an application to Daisy Hill Hospital, and I went in, I started off as an orderly. And then I said, when the chance arose then, I did the enroll course, state enroll course. And then whenever the chance came for a staff nurses course, I did that. And I got that and enjoyed that, and it was even more fulfilling because you learned an awful lot more, and you were able to give an awful lot more in skills in relation to the treatment of people. And it was a great joy to see people who come in very ill, to see them going home well improved, and it just wasn't wages or a salary. No. It was fulfillment, and that was a great joy of the job.
And John, those were the days when it was quite unusual for a man to become a nurse.
I was the first male nurse in Daisy Hill Hospital. And that was, some of the older people at the beginning would have kind of frowned at that, you know, but then when you got to know them and they got to know you then, you were totally accepted, and we had a wonderful team from the heads of the department right down. You were
there in the days of the great matrons. One in particular comes to mind, Violet Durkin.
That's right. Violet was the head of the medical department. Oh, she was a wonderful character, wonderful. And if you didn't know her, you thought she was very severe. But when you got to know her, she had a wonderful sense of humour. Wonderful woman. And very, very knowledgeable. Exceedingly knowledgeable woman.
John, nursing brought you a great deal of satisfaction. It also made great demands on you, because it's not an easy task. Caring for other people who are broken, who are vulnerable, who are in bits, that's tough.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, you see, when you were working maybe from 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, you had a split duty in the middle. That meant you went home at 1:15, back at 5. But you could have someone come in very, very ill at 20 minutes to 9. At that time, you'd be preparing to give a report to the night people. But you could be working with that patient till 9:30, 10 o'clock. And when the children were very, very young, Patricia would have been outside in the lower car park.
That's your wife?
Yes, waiting me coming out maybe at 9:45. Yeah. And there's no talk then of overtime or anything like that. It was part of the job. Yeah. And when you left that patient, when you saw that they were within reasonably controlled, the doctor was there, the treatment was ordered, and things were quiet again and calm. That was a great joy. And the next day when you went in and saw them, and after a couple of days as they were improving, that to you was a great kick.
Absolutely. And good relationships were built up with people.
Marvellous. We were another family. There are times that you were nearly closer to your colleagues in work than you were to your own family. We had some, and then a lot of the people worked maybe for quite a few years in that department, so you got very close.
John, was there, I'm sure there were, through the worst of the troubles, moments when you were called to deal with awful catastrophes?
Oh yes. One of the worst of all was the night the bomb went off in Silverbridge. Wow. The night sister said to me, John, pop round to A&E there at 10 minutes to 10, and I come out of A&E the next morning at 5:15. We never even got a drink of water. It was horrible. Some of the injuries were unbelievable that night.
How, I suppose, one's human reaction might be to run away from that. One's spiritual reaction might be to run towards it. How did you deal with that kind of pressure?
Well, whenever you saw someone very ill, or someone coming in there who was shot, or maybe someone who suffered as a result of a bomb, the thing in your mind was service. What can I do for this person? How can I make this person, how can I ease their suffering? That was fundamental in your mind. And irrespective of what colour, what religion, that never entered your head. Never. It was the person, the illness, the suffering, the sacrifice, whether it was an explosion, a bullet, whether it was a road traffic accident, in your mind was, how can I help to alleviate their suffering?
This seems a different nursing world to the world we have today, where the government is thinking of introducing the topic, the subject of compassion into the curriculum for nursing students. What an extraordinary inclusion.
Look, you see, I remember saying to the old matron, Miss Grant one time, the matron, a wonderful woman, a very firm-minded woman, she asked me one time when I was there, only at the beginning, she asked me who was the most important person in the building. So I looked at her. I said, the patient, Miss Grant. If we didn't have the patient, there'd be no need for you, no need for me.
Yeah. Absolutely true.
Oh yeah, and she was delighted I came out with that answer.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I know it's a hypothetical question, but had nursing not come your way, had you not decided to become a nurse, in your ideal world, if you had a choice of everything, what else might you have been?
A teacher. A teacher. The whole idea, the philosophy of teaching, that you can broaden the mind of children, a child. You can broaden out their mind, not filling them with rubbish, but filling them with something interesting, whether it be historical, whether it be geographical or whatever. Yeah, that often, yeah, and the law, I was fascinated by the law also. And in fact, when I got the degree in political science, I also got the papers to do law. So I said to myself at 55, what would I do with a law degree at that age? But I had seriously thought about it, and it is ironic that my two boys did law.
Wow, that's
One's
something.
working now as an in-house lawyer with First Derivatives, and the other lad will be finished as a fully fledged lawyer early in the next year, in the new year.
That must give you enormous satisfaction, a man who left school with modest qualifications.
Well, I never got the chance, you see, because I was hospitalised for a year from 10 and a half till about nearly 3/4 of a year. I got a bang on the hip, and I was out, I couldn't walk for, oh my goodness. So, but at the back of my mind, I was the so-called bright one of the family.
Yeah.
And the back, I said, when the opportunity ever arises, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I took the opportunity.
You mentioned teaching, John, and your work in politics took you to Russia, Murmansk.
That's right.
And you're involved with
Right.
education
That's
there.
right. That's right. We go to a small city called Kirosh. It's 120 miles northwest of Murmansk. It's away into the Arctic Circle. Wonderful people. We were out there in November, School 7. Now, onto the Russian...
That's what it's called,
School
School 7.
Doesn't have a name.
Wow!
Right. A lot of Russian schools, the old commie system, you're not a name, you're a number. So I noticed when I was out there, and I was told that the parents, they took a decision 2 or 3 years ago to give the school a name. Now, I'm open to correction, and to the best of my knowledge, they didn't have the money to change the school documentation. So when I saw that, and one or two other little things, I decided I will do something about that when I go home. So I'm taking the money out, hopefully on the 20th.
That you raised charitably in Uri.
I personally have raised £5,000, and I'm hoping to give that to them. So that they can say what they want to do with it will be their decision.
Yeah.
And if they decide then to change the school documentation, that's their choice. I'll be delighted.
Yeah. You have to go back again there, because just when you stop being mayor doesn't stop you caring. You'll want to go back there and see how the children are developing.
Oh, I'm looking forward. We had the children and their teachers. We had them in March in Uri, and it was excellent. They were lovely children. Now, the Russians are very fond of piano music. They're famous for piano. And there's a lassie at 14 or 15. She could make the piano talk.
Wow.
It was unbelievable.
It's in them, I think, from
Oh,
an
it's in them, of
early
course.
age, you know.
Oh, yeah. They love dancing and they love music. Yeah, oh, yeah. So we're looking forward to seeing the children in particular.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So there were rumours, and I'm going to tell you to share this with you folks,
Right.
rumours that John was going to retire from politics at the end of this year. I don't somehow think that's going to happen.
Well, that's a conundrum. Yeah. In all probability, I will, but who knows what's around the corner? And a lot will depend on candidates. If we can get, and I'm sure there are people out there. And the marvellous good news about politics and about our branch, our party at the moment, we have some wonderful young people have joined, highly intelligent, articulate, degree people, and all the young people who are very, very, very determined. And they want to do something. They want to give something to their community.
In the deep hole of the recession in Northern Ireland, and indeed in Uri in particular, have you an optimism based on this youth that you're talking about?
Right. Well, let's face it, I have a great philosophy. My belief is there comes a time when you must recognise the changing of the guard. If you could put into higher politics, into macro politics, if you looked at Thatcher and if you looked at Kohl in Germany and a few others, and sometimes I think our own leader, who was a marvellous leader, John Hume, I think they stayed too long. So you must pass the baton on. It's a continuum. Yeah. You must pass on the baton. Because sometimes I think people can get fed up looking at you, irrespective of what you've done or what you hope to do. So you must, in other words, we must give the next generation the chance to do what they can do.
The conundrum for me that is politics is this. There's the old saying, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Now that's the guts of politics. You're fighting with people, forcing people, change your mind, vote this way, vote that way. But you're seldom changing his mind. How does the thing work? How do you achieve consensus?
Right. To me, politics is about power. When I studied for a degree in politics, I discovered where power lies. The chances of a working class man or woman getting to the top in British politics is virtually remote. So you've got to know where power lies. And what's power all about? It's about getting things done. The party that I belong to, we believe in persuasion. We got to the table through negotiation and persuasion in relation to the Good Friday Agreement. And for us, that's important. I believe that our party stood between civil war and civilization.
You were sacrificial in many ways.
Yes, we choose civilization. Now, if the people subsequent to that have decided to give power to the other two major parties, Sinn Féin and the DUP, and I do believe because I believe that the DUP were so extreme, it in all probability required an extreme on the other side to match them. We were caught in the middle. I think we made the supreme sacrifice. Hume and Mallon and those guys...
They had to bring Adams on.
Right.
They had to make sure Adams succeeded in politics.
But don't forget that Hume talked to Adams for 5 years, and I'm told no one else knew about those talks. Plus Father Reid and that other Redemptorist priest in Belfast, them men and that other Presbyterian minister, they played a vitally important part. And if when we look what's happening at the moment, we brought along the Good Friday Agreement. There was a lot of people in the background who did tremendous work, and they haven't received the award they should have awarded, and the recognition, the part that they played in bringing about a cessation of violence.
John, thank you for coming in, and thank you so much for your year of office, and congratulations.
It's been a pleasure.
Go well, as my African friends say. Go well.
What do they say at the end of the Mass? Ita mita est.
The Mass is ended. Go, you are dismissed.
Go,
get on your horse and go.
Good
luck. Bye-bye. That's John. John McArdle coming to us after a very, very busy time, and we're delighted to have him here with us. Thank you so much, John.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
So we're heading out.